Good stuff. What's up, guys? Hey, Pine Springs Grapplers. We in here, Sterling. How you guys feeling? Can you guys hear me? All right, we got 28 people in the chat. What's up? Psychosis, Alexander, RS, Lithuania, Denmar, JD Edwards, Artem. What's up, guys? Juan Perez. What's up? Well, I got something to talk about today, but good. You guys can hear me. That's nice. We got little old guy here. Juan Perez. Step over toe hold, legit move or not? Flaming Trocar wants to know. The step over toe hold. It is legit. I have not done a video on the step over toe hold. A rarely seen, if ever, catch wrestling move. It is something that I have wanted to show on my channel at some point. It is a legit move, and I have seen it work in a tournament once. And it was done by a Jiu-Jitsu guy, not a catch wrestler. But then again, all the old school guys from back in the day, we all learned everything. It was all grappling. So it was actually pulled off by a Half Gracie student named, oh my goodness, I can't pull that out of my head. It's been too long. Half Gracie, black belt, very good guy. Can't remember his name. Damn it. It's going to come to me. But when it comes to me, I'll let you guys know. He pulled it off in a match I was refereeing approximately back in 2005. So anyway, what's the difference between MMA grappling and BJJ grappling? Well, one of them is with striking, and the other one is without. So, yeah, it's good to see you guys. Real quick, guys, let me just say one thing. I'll try to get out of the way. Rish Key just mentioned how to submit coronavirus. I will have you guys know that I have submitted the coronavirus. I just got over it. So anyway, it was definitely a little rough for me. That's why I've been out. Okay, guys, I know we made a post that said that I wouldn't be posting new videos for a little while. Yeah, it was a little rough for a good week. It was tough, but got through it, and I've now posted negative, and I feel great, and I've felt great for about a week now. So anyway, there's lots of stuff to talk about, guys. I know we got a lot of questions in the chat. If you guys want to like donate or do like a super chat, you guys can always do that, and then obviously I'll try to answer your question first. And if we don't get any, you guys know me, I'll probably still answer questions, no problem. But let me start off before I answer your guys' questions with the subject, the title of this live chat, which is there a difference between big man and little man jiu-jitsu, okay, or grappling? And let me see what you guys have to say. Anybody have an opinion? Is there a difference between big man and little man jiu-jitsu? Okay, Juan Perez, yes. Merrick, yeah. Big difference, Lithuania Denmark says. Yes, yes. Oh, so I guess this is not a controversial thing. Yes, certain moves. Yes, yes, to a point. Technique. Big guys must use strength. Blah, 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 blah. But really, yes, yes. Okay, so everybody thinks there is. Yes, there is a difference between big man and little man jiu-jitsu, and it should be quite obvious, but let me try to argue against it. Okay, let me try to let me try to argue against it. Big guys smash. Um See, like no difference to the greats. Yeah, see, so like guys, take for example Gordon Ryan. Take for example Hodger Gracie. Both big men, we call them big men, and they use technique just like any little guy would. Um, so I'm trying to argue against this, right? Um, some people will say that, yeah, there's differences between the big men and the little men, but when you see the really good big men, there is no difference. Um, and I would still disagree, but I get that point. So there's a point to be made that yes, guys like Gordon Ryan use technique like little guys and seem to do very well. So should there be a difference? Should there be a difference between the big man, what the big men learn and what the little guys learn? Like, is it just body type? Is it that if you're a big man like Hodger Gracie, but you can move like a little guy, then there should be no difference? Is that what it is? Um, okay, Bushesha is a big man who moves like a little. So there is something there. There's something there with the big guys that move like little guys, right? So, you know, but there actually is physics that are different. Um, when I was young, I didn't believe this. I thought that you could enlarge, just enlarge a human being and everything's the same as long as they learn how to move and their body can make the movements. I kind of always thought of it like that. And I think overall it might be a good way to think of things in those terms. But as I got older, I started to realize that there was actual physical differences when you add weight. It's kind of like you could argue like, the punching power. Like, so little guys punch, right? And they can learn really good technique and they can punch really hard for a little guy. But is it the same? And no, it's not. I think it's pretty obvious. When a Francis Ngannou throws a right hand and lands that right hand, um, it's very different than when a 125 pounder, although he can still knock someone out. It's not to say he can't knock someone out, but there's an actual physics difference when you reach that size. Like, it's not, it doesn't, you can't just enlarge someone and then, oh yeah, or shrink someone down. So what if Hodger Gracie or Gordon Ryan were in the 145 weight class? Anybody here think that they would be as good? No, I'm getting a lot of questions. Guys, I'm not going to answer those. Sorry, I'm not going to answer any questions from like a different subject until we get through this. So, I want to know if anybody thinks that Gordon Ryan or Hodger Gracie or Bushesha would be just as good in their weight classes if they were at the 145 weight class. So they'd be as good, but not as effective. In their respective weight classes, yes. Yes, they would adapt. Probably Bushesha, no. Okay. I don't think that they would be as good. I think that in the 145 weight class, I'm just picked that, but I could have said 125, 35. I could have, you know, you know. So like Hodger and Gordon are both still great. I am not saying in any way that they're not good, but I would I'm very strong on this point that they would not be the grappling gods that they are. I think that there would be many people in those weight classes that would do just as well, if not better. Um, so anyway, um, trying to read. Kyle Terra versus Gordon Ryan, same weight class, who wins? There you go. Um, guys, I don't think that you're gonna find too many guys better than Kyle Terra, to be honest. I know that that might sound like a controversial statement, but at his weight class, he was very dominant. And I would probably argue that Gordon would not be dominant against Kyle Terra if they were in the same weight class. But the question then, what if we reverse it? What if Kyle Terra weighed, 200 pounds? Would he be as effective? Would he know how to use his body at that weight class? That would change it. Could change it. So it's really an interesting thought experiment. There's no way we could truly answer it, right? Who do you think would beat Hodger Gracie if he was at 145? A lot. I think a lot of guys could beat Hodger Gracie at 145. Um, there's many 145ers. I think part of what makes Hodger Gracie amazing is that Hodger Gracie is even more so than Gordon, in my opinion. He's like a lightweight in a heavyweight division. I think that's what makes him so amazing. Like when I see him move, it just looks like a man playing with children. And it's mostly because these bigger guys cannot move like Hodger's body moves like he's in a lower weight class. Very simple. It's simple to see. Um, I don't see that he um does things that are necessarily flashy or anything, but what he has is just incredible basics and a very good understanding of the game. And I see all of his opponents just misunderstand, like not truly understand the positioning, quite like lightweights do. So, is it true we should seek a coach who is near our own weight? I don't want to say that because I feel like I don't want to say that you have to be the same weight class as your coach. I mean, there's certain things like if your coach kicks your ass, he definitely can teach you a lot of shit by kicking your ass. But if he's a really good coach and he understands the game, I think he can still teach you no matter what his size. I think big coaches can still teach little guys great technique if they understand technique. So, yeah, Faraz Zahabi, he's exactly like that. He controls people with no effort. Yeah, Faraz is a very good grappler, guys. I really like Faraz. He's my favorite. Okay, so here's the conclusion. Pretty simple. There is a difference, and I want to tell you guys why I thought about this. I got something to talk about. Um the other day I did that video on the UFC breakdown with Romanov and DeLima. So, I got a lot of people that were, let me just say, kind of arguing with me, disagreeing with me. Um, I, in hindsight, I wish I would have said a few more things on that choke. You guys know what I'm talking about. Guy caught him with a forearm choke, basically paper cutter. Um, so he puts this guy in a forearm choke, and you know it it's really not it's not a high level thing, guys. It just isn't. And what's crazy is I posted this video and I tried to balance it. I'm always trying to make everybody happy. I'm also trying to be as like just honest and forthright, and like I want to give it a good analysis. I don't want to say like, because some people will say here, and this is what people said. They go, "No, you don't get it. If you know how to do this choke, if you were more technical, you could do this choke on a lot of people." I've done it before. And then all these people send me messages about how they pulled this choke off before. And I get videos where I get to watch a guy doing it in a tournament setting, doing this choke, this forearm choke. Now, guys, look, I sound like a prick when I say this, but I've been around. I kind of know what I'm talking about, and I hate that I have to say this. I gotta tell you guys, like please listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I want to help you guys. I want you guys to truly understand the real shit. Here's the thing: can the move work? Yes, it can work, but it's not high level, guys. Choking someone with a forearm in half guard, side control, I don't give a shit if it's mount. Choking someone with a forearm in half guard is not high level. It's not. You are not going to. I don't give a shit if Delima's a black belt. He didn't. He didn't act as a black belt. Okay. He was obviously in a fight, in an MMA fight. He's a heavyweight. He was tired, and he was punched in the face and exhausted at that moment. And he also has a very big man on top of him who's good at that choke. Everybody has to send me messages. Do you know he's already done it like 3 times? It's not a fluke. Guys, it's a fucking fluke. It's a fluke, okay? It's not a fluke for him with the guys he's fighting against, but it's a fluke that it happened in the UFC at that level. At that level, it is a fluke. I don't give a shit how many times he's done it to his grandmother. It's not a high-level technique. He is not going to catch someone for the heavyweight title like that. And if he does catch a guy, I got to cover my ass now. If he does catch a guy in the heavyweight title of the UFC, then that guy is garbage. Or I'm sorry, a striker became the heavyweight champion who doesn't know grappling. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta say it. I guess you could look at my video. Look, I was nice about it. I said, hey, look, if you're big and if you're tired and if the guy's really strong and you're kind of, you're in an MMA fight and you're getting punched, I could see it happening like it happened the other night. We got the perfect situation. But guys, look, it's garbage. Yes, Jamal, it's garbage. You are not going to forearm choke people. Stop thinking that it's good. Somebody shows me a video of them pulling it off in a tournament. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. The guy you were grappling against wasn't very good. So why do I say this? Why am I such a dick? Why am I an asshole talking about this technique? Still, guys, it's because I want you guys to be a higher level. I don't want, I'm going to treat you guys just like I do my students. I don't want my students going out there trying to put forearms in people's necks, thinking that they're going to choke somebody. Guys, I'm sorry. You guys that do catch wrestling out there will say somebody said that, like, I can't believe that you wouldn't understand that if you put a forearm in someone's neck and it grinds them and it makes them open something up, that it's good. Guys, I mentioned that. I do use that. I do use it. I talked about that specifically. I use a forearm in the neck all the time to gain advantages. But there's a total difference between putting a forearm in someone's neck to try to choke them out. If you're putting a forearm in someone's neck, trying to choke them out with it, and you're really trying to choke them out with it, you are delusional if they're good, because you're more times than not going to lose position. You're going to lose what you have. I tried to demonstrate that, but people just you guys need to you need a foundation. You need a foundation in your grappling so that you guys can understand like what you should be doing. It's like if you guys were, let's pick a different technique. Let's talk about wrestling for a second. If you guys wrestled in high school and you wrestled on the JV team, which is like second team, it basically means you're not good enough to be first team, okay? If you guys were wrestling on the JV lineup, and if you started taking people down to their back, let's just say by grabbing someone's collar, and then every time you grab their collar and you grab their tricep, the inside thigh, let's say you were able to pull them down and their head pops up and you push them right in the face. I mean, like you stiff arm their face and they went to their back and you pin them with it. I don't know. I just made up some stupid ass shit. But guys, and you pulled it off 3 times in JV tournaments. Guys, that doesn't mean that the move, just because it worked for you. I mean, there's a lot of people, guys, that will fall for techniques, but we should not be. There's no way that in the Olympic Training Center, there or at any of these major wrestling clubs in Penn State, at Sunkiss Kids, or anywhere else, there's in Iowa, they are not practicing this dog shit to try to get guys ready for the Olympics. They are not doing it, guys. You're not going to become high level with some of these techniques. They are not all created equal. Just because you got good at a JV technique and you've been able to pull it off several times doesn't mean that it's going to work at high levels. And it's just, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Look, if you forearm choke your buddy at practice and it makes you feel good, keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Do it. Don't listen to me. Just keep forearm choking them. And then when you get into a competition and you have a real fucking guy in front of you, and now you start thinking that you're going to pull off this forearm choke, you don't even realize how many things you're giving up, how much positioning you're going to give up, how much wasted energy. And it's not just the physical energy, but it's the mental energy of where your mind is. And this is one of the problems with grappling. Like again, if I see a student doing something that is kind of crap, I tell them. I say, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Like really, let that go. We need to be doing something more useful. But coach, I pulled it off last time. Well, look, you got to understand I've been around. I don't mean to sound close-minded, guys, because I know I'm skating on that line of being close-minded. But there are literally things that you should avoid. And a forearm choke is a move you should try to avoid as one of your finishers. You should not be like trying to forearm choke people, guys, in half guard. It is not a thing, is what I'm trying to say. It's not a thing. So let it go. If you've pulled it off a few times on a couple tired opponents, outstanding, guys. do you guys not understand that I've tapped people with ridiculous nonsense all the time? I've tapped people with ridiculous nonsense. But the thing that I don't do is I don't go, oh, wow, I've got this ridiculous nonsense that I'm going to pull off on black belts, like on a regular basis. No. And you know what? Occasionally you pull off some ridiculous nonsense on a high level guy. And it happens. But anyway, so this is where I got this idea. Everyone was so excited about this forearm choke. And then it's so funny because the guy's name's Romanov, right? So there's this huge amount of Russian dudes that are on YouTube right now. And these Russian dudes, they love to talk shit to me. So they all love to come and tell me because of the Khabib Nurmagomedov, all the recent videos I've done of him. So they all love to come on and then let me know how, I don't know, grappling and the Dagestanis are just the new thing, and they have all this new technique, and they understand grappling better than everyone. And I'm just like laughing my ass off reading this shit because they're so misinformed. Like they do not understand that when it comes to like freestyle wrestling, and Greco-Roman wrestling and Sambo, yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the Russians, they've cornered that market. But when it comes to like Jiu-Jitsu and submission game, I'm sorry, but the Dagestanis they do not own that sphere, and they are far from the highest level, and they've been playing catch up for a long time. And I'm sorry, Sambo is not the submission game masters of the universe. The Sambo guys are basically wrestlers that have some submission knowledge. They're wrestlers and judo guys that have some submission understanding, and they're pretty good at a few things, but they are not your overall grappling experts, guys. It just isn't. It just isn't. Okay. All right. Time talking shit. Why do I gotta be an asshole? You guys make me become this asshole, and then I have to keep talking shit. And I don't want to, but I have to. I gotta set people straight. All right. So, Coach, how well would Khabib actually do in a no-gi comp like EBI? He would not do that well. That's the answer, Brandon. He's good, but he would not do that well. In a submission-only setting with another high-level grappler, he would most likely get caught in a leg lock. That would be probably the way he'd go. So it's not to say that he's not good, though. But he proved it against BJJ black belts, anonymous. Yes, because that's MMA. And you could argue that that's the better grappling. I argue that all the time. There's two different things. Guys, don't be delusional with jiu-jitsu. When you don't have strikes, jiu-jitsu is different. It just is. It's different. Okay, when you add strikes, you can afford to not be as good at the grappling game, and you can be better at striking on the ground or control on the ground. Hence, wrestlers tend to have that skill set of controlling someone on the ground. So someone like Khabib would do better when they're striking. But when you take out the striking, that's when you have to be very precise. It's the same as the sport of wrestling. If Khabib Nurmagomedov was to wrestle Jordan Burroughs, what would happen? And if anybody in here thinks that Khabib Nurmagomedov would beat Jordan Burroughs in a wrestling match, you're delusional. You're absolutely delusional. He would get totally butt raped in a wrestling match with Jordan Burroughs. However, if you add striking, Jordan Burroughs is going down easily. There's no way he can handle Khabib's striking. So, Yeah, Habib has a T-shirt that said, "If Sambo were easy, it'd be called Jiu-Jitsu." Yeah, that was a funny one, Mark. So I love that one. Remember, guys, I play both sides. So I'm a Jiu-Jitsu guy, but I'm also a wrestler. So I actually enjoyed that because it's funny. It's just funny. Anyway, Bartholomew, I'm sorry. You're an asshole. Kazumpet, you are now a bad person. This is unfortunate. No, I'm really not a bad guy, guys. I just want you guys to get better. I really do care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't. I would just be completely politically correct, and I would make everyone happy at all times. So there are people that are super nice in this world, and they won't say a bad thing about anyone. And I'm not like that. I'm actually a person that will try to give you my honest opinion. Um, because you're a small guy who can back up the shit talk, maybe. Yeah, guys, I can back it up. I'm getting a little old now, so I can't back it up as much as I used to. But yeah, and I've competed at a pretty high level, guys. And you know, I'm not saying I was the greatest. I wasn't, but there's levels to this game. What do you think is the best way to condition for wrestling? So, Eduardo Tejas, yes, he's really good. Okay, what do you think is the best way to condition for wrestling? Well, the best way to condition is a whole lot of wrestling. Um, Weightlifting helps, running helps, swimming helps. All those types of things help, but nothing will get you in good shape like, man, getting fresh guys round after round after round. If you did nothing else and you just did that, you can be in pretty damn good uh, shape. Okay. I'm losing. There's so many questions in the chat. So I'm looking for something interesting, guys. Come on. Adam Sandler, I get it every day. Should Gaethje not have leg kicked Habib? No, I think he should have leg kicked him, but again, everything has to do with setups, guys. If you throw the kick and that last kick that got caught, you know, you could argue that the timing was wrong on the kick. He needed better timing, better balance, better positioning. I think he threw it kind of just getting. He was really tired, so he was. If you're so tired that when you execute something like a leg kick, that you don't have the sharp balance and the sharp positioning in order to draw your leg back quickly. That way you can defend the incoming takedown. Then he shouldn't have thrown it. I mean, that's I know in hindsight it's 2020. It's very easy for me to say now, but that's what we're doing, right? He should not have thrown that leg kick. His leg kicks were good when he landed them, and they did damage, but that leg kick could have been not thrown, obviously. Because after landing it and throwing that calf kick, he was out of position and he was off balance. He was tired. He probably should have just moved and not thrown at that moment. So, when is Majit Rays coming back to the channel? All right, guys, I'm very happy to announce that Majit will be back, Tasneem, very soon. I'm hoping tomorrow to do some filming with Majit. Majit is one of my best friends that's a great striker. He's really incredible. Those that already see it in his videos, you see it. And those that haven't met Majit yet, check him out. Majit, it's a whole nother experience. So I can't wait to bring more of Majit. What do you think about point fighters in BJJ competitions that are not going for submissions, just winning matches on points? Lithuania, Denmark asks. What do I think about point fighters? And they're not going for submissions. They're just trying to win. Guys, it's a sport. I mean, I don't like them, but like I don't like that personally. Like I want to see guys go for submissions. To me, the game is meant to be won by submissions. Um, but again, you could argue that's like a Habib Nurmagomedov. Um, and I don't mean to insult Habib saying he's not a submission guy because he definitely looked like a submission guy versus Gaethje. But the point is, like, let's take a. What I mean by that is more of a wrestler type. You know, if you guys watched, I know Habib has. I know it was a long time ago, but there's some videos you guys can watch of him at Naga, and I believe like in his finals match, like he doesn't submit the guy, he just kind of like blankets on top of him, and he doesn't submit him. So I'm picking on him. I know from a long time ago, but which also shows that he's gotten so much better. So he's improved a ton. But if you watch that kind of style of just somebody who blankets on top of another individual, it's not fun to watch. It's not what I like. What do I think about him? I don't like it. I think they need to get called for stalling more. But at the same time, those are still some of the baddest dudes. You have a guy who can take you down, control you on the ground, pass your guard, scores a couple points, and then hold you and not let you get out. Well, then you got to learn how to get out. So if you have a shitty ass takedown game and you can't sweep them, then you lose. And I've lost before, guys. I've lost to guys like that, and it's very frustrating. I lost to a D1 wrestler once that held me and did absolutely nothing in a competition. And I really wished that we had more time because I would have won had I had enough time to wear him out, or a referee that would say something when a guy is just locked around my body, not doing anything. But it doesn't matter. I have to look at my own weaknesses. I have to confront my own weaknesses and realize that I never should have allowed him to control me in that way. So, too bad, so sad, get better. It's just the way it is. So if a guy can control you on the ground but not submit you, then yeah, if I'm his coach, I'm going to tell him learn submissions. But if I'm your coach, I'm going to say, well, then you suck on the bottom. You need to get better. So that's kind of how I view it, Lithuania. I haven't been able to go to class for a long time due to Corona. I have studied at home to be the best of my ability. Let's see if you recognize my name or even remember me. Noah G. Noah G? Kazumpet? How would I remember you? Noah G. I just don't, if you're still there, how am I supposed to remember you? Like, did you train with me? So I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking for that. Anyway, yeah, Tasneem, Alex Volkov won by TKO with the ball kick that Sensei Majit showed. Yep. I mean, he snapped it really well, too. That was really good. What do you think of Imanari rolls in MMA? Risky, but if you're good at it, you can really tangle people up. And when you have nothing else to do, you might as well go for it. Ryan Hall has made a living off that. I like it. It's funky. It's crazy. What do I think of Hamzat? I think he's pretty damn good. I'm excited to see the rest of his career. Hmm. Is the John Smith style low single good for submission grappling, or is there some vulnerability to the submission? To submission. Um, Tim Schreiner asks. Yeah. I mean, it's good. If you're good with it, it's a great technique. Is there vulnerability? There always is vulnerability. Anytime you attack, there's a counter to that movement, and you have to be careful. But once you're like, you can't just come in with a straight up low single from wrestling. Like, you have to be aware of submissions. Once you're aware of submissions, a John Smith low single will still work really well. You just can't, like, for example, a lot of low singles, your head will go through the hole. And in wrestling, you'll just kind of Iranian lift and try to come out the back door. And you got to be careful. You know, you could be giving up your arm on an arm bar on the grip of the heel as well. You could get triangled with a like an inverted triangle. So you have to kind of be aware of the situation. If you hit a John Smith single the correct way, which is to place your head or your temple area, forehead area inside the knee, at the bend of the knee, you can kind of negate a lot of the counters. So you just don't want to be one of those guys that's always popping your head through the hole, which is not a good thing even in wrestling. At high levels, those guys get countered quite a bit. So you want to, even though you can come out the back door, it's not desirable. You want to try to hit a good low single head in the knee, and that way you can stop all the countering. Anyway, R.I.P. Joe Rogan. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Anyway, let me try to move on. Sorry, guys, there's so many questions, and I end up losing my spot. Coach, can we apply the Americana just like the Kimura, putting our leg over the opponent's head to magnify my range of motion and make the Americana more effective? No. You don't want to put your leg over the head for an Americana. That's not really going to help you. It actually prevents you from applying the force to the Americana. So if anything, you would do the opposite. You would, so in, let's say you had your opponent's left arm in a Kimura, you would step your left leg over his head, and that's to stop his head from sitting up. If you had an Americana on that same arm, on his left arm, if you put your left leg over his head, you're actually not going to be able to do anything with the pressure on the Americana. If anything, you would want to drop your left hip downward and place your right leg up and either step over to mount or leave it in kind of knee on belly side control ish and drive it that way. That's the only way that you would be able to use your leg to drive more pressure. So, are spiked double leg takedowns best for the street? Tony Souza. Yeah, I mean, like, that would hurt. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by your question. Are they best for the street? Yeah, if you want to kill someone. Entering my first tournament at 44 as a white belt, 185-pound gi and no gi, 30 plus age bracket. Any tips? 44 going against the 30 year olds. Brian, my advice, you know what? Stay relaxed. These guys are going to 185 pounders. They're going to get tired. White belt. They're going to use a ton of energy. It's not a lot of time on the mat. So it's usually an endurance challenge, the white belt division. Um, I don't know if you have very good takedowns, but if you do have some takedowns, remember you need to stay in good position. Let him, almost everybody at that level is going to make a mistake. So, including you. So, what I would recommend is stay in good position and just wait for your opponent to make a mistake. Like, for example, taking a bad shot for your legs. This is the easy way to win. Let them take their bad shot, or if you see them kind of just even go a little bit, maybe snap them into it so you can get your weight on top of them. Stay relaxed, learn good balance. Everything is balance. You don't have to do too much. You just got to get your weight on top of them. Let them waste their energy. When they're in the white belt division, they burn an enormous amount of energy, especially as the weight goes up. The lightweights, they tend to be able to just go, go, go. They will get tired too, but not nearly like the 185 pounders and up. So if I were you, you pick your moment to get all of your weight on your opponent, like in a sprawl, or if you can take your opponent down, let's say he's just weak with his balance, you sense it right away. If you get a single leg, double leg, and you can take them down and get your weight on top of them, push into a half guard. Remember, just balance, stay on top, keep your weight distributed well, get a good cross face, wear them out, stay calm, don't try to rush the situation. You don't have to move fast. At this level, it's just balance. If you just keep balance and lay on top of the other guy longer than he's laying on top of you, you are going to win the war of attrition. You're going to open his guard eventually, pushing on his thigh. You're going to be able to get past his guard or get to the mount, and he'll either turn his back or you'll stay in the mount and get an arm triangle or an Americana, something like that. That's Kimura, arm triangle, and Americana. Those are your, and if a guy turns his back, rear naked choke. Those are your best bets at that weight class and at that level. That's my advice to you, Brian. What would you define a blue belt skill set as, and how long would it likely take to earn it? Um, a blue belt can take anywhere between 6 months and 2 years, what most people will say, and I kind of agree with that. It really depends on the person. I've met people that were blue belts in 6 months, and I've met people that were blue belts in 5 years. So it could take a long time. How would I define the skill set? You need to know the basics of each position. You need to know, how to escape the mount, escape side control, escape the back, pretty comfortably. You know how to defend yourself so you can survive. When a blue belt goes against a purple belt or brown belt, he should be able to survive sometimes. Not all the time, but he should be able to put up a fight with his defense. And a blue belt can take that white belt who walks in the door and pretty much submit them. Maybe not 3 to 5 times in 5 minutes, but you should be able to take that guy, even if he's an athletic dude, and you should be able to get him once or twice in 5 minutes. And if you can do better, then that's great. I'm trying to give you guys a standard for a minimum that I kind of look for. You need to know all the basic submissions. A blue belt knows what an armbar is, a triangle is, a rear naked choke, a guillotine, arm triangle. He knows what a darce is. He knows what a kimura is. He knows what an omoplata is. He's got all these basic moves. He knows how to take people down. A blue belt knows 3 takedowns and can do them with decent proficiency. Like I said, his escape game is pretty solid. That's what a blue belt is. And just because a blue belt gives up weight doesn't mean that he cries and says, "Oh, well, the guy was too big." no, a blue belt who weighs 145 goes with a 200 pounder and, you know, submits that guy. Doesn't cry and complain that the other guy's bigger. If you're always just, well, I can beat the guys my size, but that guy's got 30 pounds on me. Well, if he's got 30 pounds on you, then just you should be able to weather the storm and avoid submission and survive. And sometimes that's all it is. But eventually that person should get tired, make a mistake, and you should get their back and choke them. That's what a blue belt is. Would John Danaher beat Stipe Miocic in a grappling match? I think John's a little old. Very technical, but I think he's kind of old. I would not bet on that one. Stipe, I don't really know how good he is, but he's a heavyweight. He's bigger than John Danaher, and he's an elite level athlete. And John Danaher's like in his 50s, as far as I remember, I think, guys. I wouldn't want to bet on that. And I don't think John trains. Like, I could be wrong. Maybe he does, but I think he's kind of broken. But as far as like, if you give me a John Danaher of like 10 years ago, I would pick John Danaher in a grappling match. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to catch up, and I see what Brian's written. You're welcome. How do I gain a Camel belt? Oh, you guys. Why do people drop out at blue or purple belt? It's just hard for some people, guys. I think blue and purple belt is like a decent level. People feel pretty good about themselves. There's a saying. I don't know if I can say it just right. I'd probably have to look it up to get it perfect, but there's a saying that says something about, black belts. Like some people say black belts are white belts that just never gave up. Something like that. And then there's some type of saying about black belts where it goes, maybe you guys can help me out with this one because I'm not getting it. But it's something like normal people don't become black belts. Like black belts are different people, they're not like not everyone becomes a black belt because black belts aren't like everyone. So there's some type of poetic way to say it, and I don't remember quite how it's been said, like in a meme, but most people just aren't kind of cut out for being a black belt to, train to that level and to improve and learn. And, if you're average, you don't become a black belt. So yeah, skeptic, but basically black belts are better than average people. And they are. I mean, it just is what it is. It's kind of the definition of it. It's kind of why that's what makes it great, is that we don't just give it to everybody. Like generally speaking, guys that not trying to talk shit on military, but guys that make it through boot camp, and not everybody makes it all the way through, and not everybody makes it all the way through their tours and their service, but basically it's not that difficult to be a veteran in the military. As long as you can kind of just keep your nose clean and do what you're told, you're going to make it. Well, jiu-jitsu's not like that. Jiu-jitsu's like another level. It's like when you get into the special forces or the Green Beret or the Navy SEALs. And I'm not even going to compare it to the Navy SEALs. That's like pretty crazy, right? But the point is, it's a higher level. It's not, you're not just, oh yeah, I entered into jiu-jitsu and I'll get my black belt when I get out. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's not like little kid taekwondo schools where as long as you show up, they're going to give it to you, you know. So, and there's some guys, you know, at some places that are black belts that maybe they're not like the greatest you know, black belts, but there's still, in order to reach that level, there's a certain amount of discipline and effort that gets put into it, and love that gets put into it, where they don't give up, and that's why they reach that level. What, and I'll tell you, at my school, nobody's going to get a black belt unless they're a badass at my school. Like, they're going to be good. Um, you know, I only have 2 black belts in all the years I've been coaching, and both of them were former MMA fighters. They're legit dudes. I mean, like, if anybody messes with them, they're gonna know right away. They're gonna go, "Damn, this guy's tough," you know. So, yep, Anthony D. The average person can't get a black belt. There's nothing average about being a black belt. So, belts are overrated. Yeah, maybe. What is your lineage? If you guys wanted to know my lineage, I have a really weird lineage. Because I started with a guy named Robert Ferguson, and Robert Ferguson is not known as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. In fact, when I was coming up, we were anti-Jiu-Jitsu. We were like submission wrestling. That's what we called ourselves. We went to Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, and I competed. No, not Tiny Ferguson's dad. Tony Ferguson's dad, no. Robert Ferguson was a taekwondo guy, used to write for the magazines a lot. He was a judge at UFC 8, I believe. And, you know, when the Gracies had kind of come out to Southern California, the Machados were here, and he had, you know, trained with the Machados through, oh man, my mind, I can't remember now. One of the famous actor who's a Machado black belt. Damn it, can't remember. If I hear his name, I would know right away. I see his face clear as day. Can't remember. Anyway, no, not Chuck Norris. He put my instructor in touch with Machados, and he went down there to train for a while and learn some jiu-jitsu. And there was tons of videotapes back then for Panther Productions that a lot of them were garbage, but you know, he learned a lot of technique from videos. And no, not Michael J. White, not Ed O'Neill. Anyway, and he was teaching me in the beginning. He promoted me to a purple belt level. Actually, I believe even a brown belt level. But it wasn't legitimate. You know, it wasn't like under to the jiu-jitsu world. They didn't view me that way. But then what happened was I started to referee. I started to referee for a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments all over Southern California, as well as outside of California, all Western United States. Yeah, there you go. So Cuz 63, remember Robert Ferguson, who called himself the Prince of the Leg Locks? That's right. So, you know, I was refereeing a lot. Richard Norton, yes, Cuz 63. Richard Norton was the one that actually got Robert Ferguson in touch with the Machados. He brought him down there, and he, you know, lost, got his ass kicked, couldn't grapple with him. Ferguson was a decent striker, had a boxing and taekwondo background, so he couldn't grapple with him. So he became intrigued and started training with the Machados. They were all together at the time. It used to be called RCJ Machado um, back in the day before they all split up, and which was like Hodger, John, Jean-Jacques, Carlos. Um, anyway, so do you guys ever train with the gi at your gym? Not currently, no. We don't. I don't train in the gi anymore, or at our gym anymore. But I did train in the gi when I was coming up a little bit. So it still wasn't the majority of my training, but we did train in it. So anyway, so getting to the point, I started refereeing a lot, and then through refereeing, I ended up, I was kind of respected as a referee, mostly the World Grappling Games tournaments, which were kind of like, some people called them the OTM tournaments, on the mat tournaments. And I was refereeing a lot of those tournaments for Ryan Gregg, who's under the Machados. And through that, I met Felicia O, who's under Jean-Jacques Machado. She's one of the quickest black belts. She was in Abu Dhabi in 2007. So I started training with Felicia because Felicia needed other small people to train with. And we trained together, I think it was back in like 2005. And so I trained with Felicia from 2005. 2007, I was helping her get ready for Abu Dhabi. In 2007, we both tried out for the FILA World Team Trials. She made the world team and won the world championship. I did not make it. I was 5th at World Team Trials. It was a good tournament, but I did not make it. You needed to be top 3. In 2008, I was 2nd. Placed 3rd at the FILA Grappling World Championships and 2nd in the gi division. The following year in 2009 was the last time I competed. Again, that year I took 3rd at World Team Trials. I was supposed to win it, but ended up losing to Fun Size, Zach Makovsky. And anyway, yeah, took 1st in the gi that year at the World Championships, took 3rd at no gi again. Yeah, so anyway, I got my black belt officially in 2008. So my lineage was, I was at Big John McCarthy's. I was hired by Big John McCarthy to run his MMA team. And I was also teaching jiu-jitsu classes at his mega academy. He had a very big academy. And what would I do if Matt Fury kicked in my door? I would laugh. But anyway, yeah, John McCarthy. So that's kind of like, I was still pretty good before I was at John McCarthy's, but if I may say so. But when I went to Big John McCarthy's, I think that was kind of like one of the things that helped me reach a higher level, because being at Big John McCarthy's gym, it was just a place for me to like experiment, meet more people, get exposed to other jiu-jitsu people, to coach MMA fighters. I mean, I had coached MMA fighters before that, but not like this. This just gave me like the perfect canvas to start painting. And from coaching little kids wrestling, little kids jiu-jitsu, adult jiu-jitsu, there's just so much to work with there, and it made me a lot better, I think. So I helped him with his referee course for a long time. So Big John's got a great like referee course where he trains referees. So I used to be a pretty big part of that back in the day. But yeah, so like when people ask me what my lineage is, it's very diverse, and technically, Felicia O would not sign my black belt anymore. So I'm really more like a black belt orphan nowadays. So I got my black belt, I would say, from Felicia. She was the one, so I guess you would say that I'd be a Jean-Jacques lineage, but um, Felicia and I don't talk anymore. So she was, she and I used to be romantically involved. She was my girlfriend for a while, and because we're not together, things didn't go so well. Like a lot of times, things don't go well, and she, I asked her to kind of like sign my by Felicia Jiu-Jitsu. Anyway, I asked her to sign my black belt a few years back, maybe 5 years ago, and she wouldn't do it. So which she gave me my black belt in 2008, and I never cared. And then when the IBJJF was like demanding people, you know, in from 2011, 12, 13, 14, I think by 15, 16, when I opened my own academy in 2015, I that's when I was like, oh, I guess I'll finally get this thing done. And then at that point, she didn't like me anymore, and so she didn't sign it for me. But I have lots of friends that would probably do it, and I just have not given a shit. So I'm not legitimate under the IBJJF, but the NABJJF or SJJIF Federation recognizes me. So they were cool enough to basically like recognize me as a black belt, but they're not as well known or respected as the IBJJF. So anyway, so that's the story. I actually haven't told that story, I don't believe. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys. Well, I think this is fizzling out, guys. So there's no, I'm not a BJJ playboy, Varun. But anyway, um, not a big deal, guys. I feel fine, and I don't really care too much about the getting my black belt signed off on by an instructor anymore. I am my own man. I was training long before Felicia, and I was training her just probably more than she ever trained me. So it is what it is. It's not a big deal. I love what I do. I help a lot of people. I am legitimate. People respect me throughout, you know, across the world. So I'm not very worried about any type of legitimacy issues. So did I ever form choker? Robot wants to know. I did not form choker. I probably should have tried it on her. Um, but she probably would have escaped because form chokes don't work, guys. Oh man. So, well, she wasn't exactly my instructor. She was my training partner, Brian, but we were just training partners, and that's kind of how the relationship started. But because I didn't have a technical jiu-jitsu lineage, even though she wanted to train with me because of my skills, um, that's kind of how I came into the Brazilian jiu-jitsu fold. Anyway. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much. Uh, there's now a bunch of people talking. You're stupid, Varun. All right, guys. Um, do I smoke after rolling? No, I don't. I don't smoke at all. Never have. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much. This is a long one today that we're going through. So anyway, recap. Uh, Big man jiu-jitsu. Yes, there's a difference. It's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing. when I have bigger athletes that I train, I teach them different things. I work with them on things that would work really well for them sometimes. We're going to try to go over a little bit of that soon, I hope. I just showed a technique which you guys probably understand, where you're in side control and you weave your hand under the neck like a crossface, and then you push their arm and then get your hand inside their armpit area, and then you can kind of turn them on their side. And then through this position, this is where you'd see like Brock Lesnar punch Frank Mir. Some people call it like the stockade position or some shit, like catch wrestlers like to call it. Like that position right there. I taught that a couple weeks ago, and one of my big guys, he fell in love with it. He was like, Coach, I'm killing guys with this. I submitted guy after guy after guy with this technique, and it's because he's a little bit bigger. And then all my little guys, let's just say I have like a little 135 pounder, he's not able to pull it off at all at his weight class. Not to a bigger opponent, and definitely not even on a guy his size. It's a lot harder for him to pull off. So when you're bigger, there are different moves. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing. It means that the art isn't the same. It can change. It can be different for different people. And it's a great thing. So I'll show you guys that real soon. But you can also find that technique all over YouTube. And what else can I say? Forearm choke, guys, it's a big man technique, not a little guy technique. If you guys want to hit people with a forearm choke, hit them. Get them. Hopefully you're a big guy. Get them real tired, and then forearm choke the shit out of them. I'm going to show you guys probably on a future video how I like to forearm choke people. But again, I'm going to tell you guys at high levels, you're more likely to just use a forearm choke as just kind of like a nuisance. No, is a forearm choke, isn't that in Ezekiel? Yes, it is, but not the way that the guy did in the UFC, not Romanov's. That locking style, that's not what you're going to be using unless you're an enormous dude. So anyway, but I'm going to be doing, I'll show you guys a little bit of no-gi paper cutter choke, which is, I think, a better way of trying to threaten the forearm choke than the way that Romanov does it. The way Romanov did it, half guard, it's okay. You got to get a guy real tired. Maybe he's not so technical. You're big, it'll work. But if you guys want to like be a little more effective, you're going to need to use it the way we do it in the gi and try to apply it in no gi. So anyway, all right, guys, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you, and I'm going to be signing off. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, your Sunday, and I'll be back more tomorrow with more great stuff. All right, guys, take it easy. I'm out.